Hello, and welcome to the Black Mirror Oracle. Today, as I was scrying in the Black Mirror, I got some very specific messages, and this is going to be extremely specific for people who have been down the awakening path for a while and are ready to reach a level of ecstatic experience. Okay, so if this isn't for you at this moment, that's fine. If it is, then welcome, fellow traveler. Today, what I saw in the Black Mirror was the outline of a glowing person. They had spheres like energy centers throughout their body, and out of each center grew branches of a tree. Then I saw a person looking into a mirror within the mirror, and the person looking in the mirror had no reflection. You know, it reminds me of something a friend said, and they may be watching this right now. So they said that when the mirror is empty, it's because it's faced toward the divine. So the third thing I saw was a stack of books pushed off of a table. And then I got a poem that came to me, and I'll read that later during our channeled message since it was channeled. Okay. So as I say, reading the mirror is a sacred thing, so I do not open it on camera. I simply receive the messages earlier in the day, write them down, and then we work together. Beloved, if you are here, you are meant to be. If you are here, you've come to learn that the slow spiritual burn is a fire that never goes out. And it doesn't need to always be a flame so bright that it burns you alive, right? But somehow it still is. I am so honored and blessed to be able to share this message. I don't know exactly where it's going, but I feel the shape of it as something very important to your life. And congratulations at being on such a cusp. As we all know, there is no end to the spiritual journey. They're just layers of unfolding. And when you can unfold to the layer of ecstatic love, the world changes. I think it's Shams Tabrizi says something like, the world moves different when fire loves water. Okay. So when I saw the image in the mirror of these images, I saw the glowing person, the branches, the energy centers, the person looking into an empty mirror. These are all such ecstatic images. And if you're not familiar with ecstatic practice, it is the feeling of divine love as an overflowing experience, one where love and bliss are mixed together in such a way that you feel the ecstatic divine in everything. And it's not meant to say that you're feeling this untamed bliss that controls your life, but rather the bliss becomes your life. It becomes your experience. It becomes your default, right? So you're not chasing highs or lows. You're just at this peaceful place. Seek the truest self. Oh, wow. Look at this. The mask here, you're taking that off. You're looking at the mirror and you're seeing that the person who was in the mirror before is fading away because that was just a mask, and you're ready to see the clear mirror of who you are. As Rumi said, if you want a clear mirror, behold yourself and see the shameless truth which the mirror reflects. Grow wild. Oh, this is amazing. there is a sort of feeling of feralness to this kind of ecstatic awakening process, of thinking of those energy centers with the tree branches growing out, such a wildness to it. And kind of relating to both, there's a poem by Yeats called The Two Trees, and it basically represents, it's about like someone looking in a mirror, and instead of seeing themselves, they see kind of like a broken, blackened tree instead of a beautiful, vibrant tree with fruit. And I feel like if you have not read The Two Trees by Yeats and you landed here, please go read it. I really think that you will resonate with it. But part of that is understanding that growing wild doesn't mean being out of control. Growing wild is when the ecstatic practice flows through you and you're able to wildly dance and wildly be authentic and wildly be free without limitation of human projection, without limitation of human conditioning. And in that free-flowing state, your wildness is not dangerous to you or anybody else. Your wild spirit becomes a lantern, a beacon to light the way of your own soul, because you trust that that power flowing through you is leading you intuitively. I want to say there's a Sufi mystic, I want to say Nasruddin, but I could be wrong. But basically the idea is that you don't just, your intuition is not trusting that the divine takes care of everything for you, but trusting that the divine will give you the clues to do the right actions, because you can't passively wait for this ecstatic experience. Some people do get it spontaneously, but let me tell you, when it comes spontaneously and the vessel is not ready, it can cause a lot of issues. And the image I saw earlier was very reminiscent of the Kabbalistic tree of life. Kabbalah, obviously Jewish mysticism, but it was adapted over the years into Western esoteric or Hermetic tradition. And on this tree, the story kind of goes like this. I'm not going to get into the whole thing. I'm actually going to start a series at the end of January this month. It'll take about 3 years. It's a journey of going through the Kabbalistic tree. And so if you're here at this video, you may want to walk the paths with me, because it may be that you're ready. But basically, the divine have these spheres of energy or power throughout the tree, which is also in your body. And in these, that when the divine power flowed into these containers or structures or spheres, and they can't be contained, then the spheres shatter and crack. So it goes with ecstatic energy if the vessel's not ready. And that is why sometimes when people have a spontaneous awakening experience, it wrecks their lives, it wrecks their nervous system. They might get sick for a long time. They're like, why is awakening like this? It's because our society has prepared our bodies for a very materialistic, worldly experience. And so when these spontaneous awakenings happen and we haven't prepared the vessel, and we don't know how to prepare the vessel, most of us don't, because we're not taught such things. And then we're stuck spending years healing the vessel afterwards. So if you landed here and you were at any of these phases I'm talking about, either your vessel just cracked open, you had a spontaneous awakening, or you had one before, or you feel like you're on the cusp of one, or you've been having a slow awakening and you're ready for the next step. Let's take a look at that. Your shadow cards. We have 2 ants sword fighting on a pile of money. This is what I was saying earlier about the world is preparing us for materialistic things. And then we have, it looks like a bunch of plants, like vines. And one of the vines is cutting itself with a knife, because that's what that's what society trains us to do, right? Instead of giving us the tools to understand our spiritual, emotional, and mental condition, they condition us to keep hurting ourselves and each other as a distraction, right? Because they know people who wake up ecstatically, they're uncontrollable, right? They're uncontrollable. And that's no good for a society like that. Inner journey. Abundance. If you're not already feeling that overflow of bliss, it's coming soon to you. And there's this poem by Hafez that says something along the lines of like, basically when you understand that the most beautiful moments and the worst moments are the same. And I don't mean the same as in pain equals pleasure. I mean, you understand that there's a spectrum, and that sort of like how hot and cold are the same thing, they're just different on different places of the spectrum. So are the good and bad things in life, both part of the same spectrum, and you can't have one without the other. You only understand the beauty of life because you've seen the ugliness of life, right? And in Hermetic tradition, you can only feel the level of joy as you have felt the level of the opposite. It's like a pendulum. And that doesn't mean go seek out difficult situations. It just means if life has handed you a lot of hard things, you have the choice to transmute it into something extraordinary. The tree in the body, growing branches, growing fruit. The fruit is the work that you do. The fruit are the actions that you do. You can let yourself wither away. In the tree, most people do not talk about this part of the tree. But in the tree of life, it's actually overlaid of the tree of life is something called the tree of death. And the tree of death is not a separate tree. It is a distortion of the tree. As I said earlier in the Yeats poem, where you're looking in the glass and there's a withered, broken tree. Because it's time to follow your heart's whisper. Yeah, it's time to... You already know. Before I even started this message, you already knew exactly what I was going to say. You already knew. It's like a really old-looking, worn-out house or barn. The past, beloved, is in the past, and clinging on to it, remembering what it was to be ignorant. You know, they say ignorance is bliss. Because you don't necessarily fit in the way that you did before. And you might still be at the stage where you're navigating what that even means. And I just want to let you know that this inner journey, this is leading to abundance, to see your truest self, to grow into the authentic, wild person that you are, to stop cutting into your own heart. Hafez also says, run like hell, my dear, from anything that will put a knife into the sacred vision of your tender heart, or something like that. Feed the future. Reflect your true face. Reflect on your true face. The person in the mirror. The person in the mirror. Looking at a mirror and there was no reflection. And look, we've got seek your truest self. And then we have reflect on your true face. I don't think that the universe could have given clearer signs, beloved, that you are exactly where you need to be. I feel like I should read this now. The poem that came to me earlier today. It's definitely ecstatic. So how do I even begin? My longing for the beloved is a dance of pure fire lit by flowing water. How can I explain to a world of tears and ash that love is the fire that always burns but never consumes? That the water of the beloved pours through my heart like a river, making my heart's flame brighter. No, they fear drowning in the love, of losing their way in the flames. But I feel the beloved like a dance of pure fire, lit by flowing water. You felt that, right? You felt that. The feeling of somehow emptiness and fullness at the same time. Somehow a flame, but also somehow flowing like water, right? I am grounded. I am loved. I am enough. You know, that's the thing. During this process, grounding yourself is extremely important. I make a difference. You do. Okay, now I know this is a little different than my usual messages. So thank you for being here. Because honestly, if you're here, I don't even know if you need this message, do you? Maybe you're just looking for someone else who understands, who sees, who's been there. Or maybe you're about to need this message. So save it and come back later. Or maybe you are meant to be here to hear about the new series about walking the Kabbalistic tree of life pathways that I am starting soon. I'm going to walk them. So there will be one a month released because I'll be walking them along with you. And if you are interested in more advanced practice, then if you feel like you're done with all the beginners books and intermediate or whatever and you're ready to dive deeper, it's time. I'm not here to really give messages to the masses. I'm here for those specific people who are in that process or of that deeper work. I mean, I'm here for anyone who needs me, but today, specifically this message. Let's start your channeled reading, beloved. The abundance in your heart and soul has come from the fact that you've had to take a leap of faith. And one thing that people don't realize is there is no hierarchy in spirituality. I was talking about the tree earlier. In the tree, the crown or keter is the connection to the divine. And it is represented in tarot by the Fool. And you would think that it would be represented by the world or completion because it's the spirituality. But really it is the before thought, the all form, the all knowing, the all purpose. So it is the spiritual nature before thought interferes. And that is why it is the Fool. Such love is pouring into your heart, beloved. Two of Cups energy here. And with these two crows, once again, we get the image of the mirrors. These two crows are mirrored in the card. The two people are mirrored in the card. The crows are also prevalent in the tree of the Two Trees by Yeats. You are getting to a space where you feel like you have to be very guarded about how you interact with the world because you are in this high priestess energy. You are feeling like you're shedding an old skin. You're shedding an old life. You're shedding an old way of thinking because, beloved, this ecstatic love that you are feeling it washes all that away. And no matter how much you cling, you can't hold it. It's going to flow away. And that's okay. Letting go is the process. Beloved, soon, if you haven't seen it already, you will be able to understand that your container is going to be able to hold and be nourished by the energy flow that you have experienced or you will soon experience. So if it's overwhelming, remember, see it as the sun, as pure love flowing over you. And the only reason it might feel like it gets stuck is because there are obstacles there, and that's what it's there for, to wipe away, to clear out the obstacles. In the Tower card, in the Tree of Life, there is the lightning bolt of shock, the lightning bolt of change. Beloved, it is not there to hurt you. It is there to clear out what does not belong to you. It is there to clear out what was never yours but was placed inside of you. The will, beloved, has turned in your favor. The wheel of fortune. It often feels like bad luck, beloved, when you awaken, because all of the structures of your life come crumbling to the ground. The things you thought were the most important things make no sense to you anymore. Except to the people around you, to the world, they're still doing the same thing, and they don't understand. They don't understand, but you know, beloved. A lot of abundant energy here, but it's abundant energy of spirit. It's abundant energy of this divine love, and learning how to balance living in this world and being a channel or a conduit for this divine love that you feel. Going back to the tree, because like I said, this is all tied together. The lowest, well, I say lowest, but like on the body, if you're looking at the tree overlaid of the body, Malkuth is at your feet. It is the sphere called kingdom, and it is meant to be taught to represent the physical world. Keter is crown. So you can't look at the tree hierarchically, you have to look at it holistically. So therefore you can't abandon Malkuth or the kingdom, because you're here, you're supposed to be here for a reason. As in, the divine wanted this experience, right? And since you are an aspect of the divine, like a prism, you know, the prism is one piece of glass, but it shines different things, different colors, different designs. You are one of those designs reflecting from the prism. You can't pretend that you're not in Malkuth, in this world, in the kingdom, and just try to live in Keter or the divine blissful state. You have to balance it, beloved. And when you can do that, it's going to take discernment of mind to cut through the illusions of this world, but also the illusions that will arise when if you get that flow without your container being ready, you're going to experience things that make no sense for a while. So as I always say, please get the help that you need when you need it. We all walk our paths alone internally, but we don't have to be alone. We can get the support we need. This is really deep, heavy work, so get the support you need. Beloved, Four of Wands as your final card. You're coming home to yourself. You're coming home to the understanding that this blissful state is your permanent natural state coming. Beloved, I hear the tinkling of my little dog's feet. She was so sick this week and now she's getting better. So forgive the sounds. I love you, sweet girl. You are here. You are strong. I feel as if I could cry, feeling the love that flows through you and the love that flows through all of us. I don't know that you need me to even say any more than that, because you already know if you're here. But I'm so glad you came here and that you're connected to this message. And I hope that you feel that love, even if you're at a moment where you feel like your vessel is cracking under the pressure. The mirror is closed. The reading is closed. Be at peace, beloved.